Hi.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good, how are you?
I've been looking forward to this.
No, me too.
How are you doing? You doing all right?
Yeah. I'm doing good. I'm a little bit tired, but I feel like that's par.
Yeah, that's what we do to people.
That's where
here.
we are.
We make people be
Yeah.
tired.
Yeah.
We make people come in early.
Yeah.
What does bravado mean in that context?
I feel like the album is about like duality, and I think I was kind of thinking about how that is applied to almost every situation. Like, if you go out into the world, aren't we at some point, at some place on the spectrum, employing bravado? And it is, as you were saying, kind of, what is it that we show to the world and what is it that we're actually feeling inside? And are those things like, how far apart are they? What's the disparity between those?
It sounded in that song like you were talking about it as if it's another person, as if it's another.
Yeah, it kind of feels like a separate entity. I guess in my experience of it, if I think about, I definitely am an introvert by nature. And so bravado is definitely a friend to me in moments when I'm, out in the world and interacting. And yeah.
I think we want to believe that we're. Are your headphones on, by the way? Can you hear yourself? There's a knob there. There you are. There I am.
I mean, I could hear myself. I'm in my own carcass, so it's fine.
I know, but it's not the same,
Yeah.
is it? You don't feel like you're on the radio unless you can hear yourself. At least I find. I think we want to believe that we're the same way we are when we're out as when we're home, but we're not.
Yeah, and I think it takes a long time to get those two things to be the same. And maybe there is some kind of little piece of ourselves that we preserve for ourselves, but it's so hard to know someone else, let alone, the hard, deep, uncomfortable work of getting to know yourself. And I think that's where I'm at in my life. I was kind of staring at these themes coming up in the things I was writing, and I was like, oh, right, like, I gotta kind of stare into this place of like, what is the disparity between those two things and what is it called? And it's called bravado for me. And then I was like, man, everyone's doing that. What is Instagram? Like, what's that picture that's been filtered 3 times and looks incredible? It makes us think that someone else's life is better. It's just they're presenting a version of it,
What do you think it was that led you to have that realization?
Being alive, I think. The first song that I wrote was The Fraud on the record, and it was this kind of like, that's where the theme kind of came out. I was like, oh, right, like, how is it that I actually feel? And how is it that I'm walking around in the world? What dialogue, the story that I'm telling myself about, I'm single and I'm fine and it's great and I'm work really hard and, and it's great and I'm successful kind of thing. And in the meantime, there's moments when, in like loneliness or in like, what is the point of doing things? Like, everybody has this self-examination that's going on. And I guess I just thought, like, this is the thing that's actually happening. And people are uncomfortable talking about. And that's exactly the place I want to go. Like, I guess I like those shadowy corners, and in trying to figure out what matters to me, I was like, everybody's asking that question. It's a struggle just to kind of be alive, let alone figure out all the things that you're supposed to be doing. There isn't anything we're supposed to be doing. We're just all trying to figure it out at any one time.
And I feel like performers like you who, and maybe like me, but performers like you, and probably like me, whose job is their name, is the same name they have when they're not working.
Yes.
I'm Tom Power at home playing baseball video games. Mm-hmm. I'm Tom Power. I have the same name when I'm having a bowl of soup with you.
Yep.
And I'm Tom Power here, which feels like a different person.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
And same with Rose Cousins right now, or Rose Cousins when you're performing on stage.
Yeah.
But you're still Rose Cousins when you go home.
Yeah, and I want to think those things are pretty close together. But it is true. I mean, in order to kind of, protect ourselves or, like save some of ourselves for ourselves, like when you go out in the world as Tom Power and I go out as Rose Cousins, there's a thing that we call being on, right? That we don't need at home. And it comes from a place. Like, you have to conjure it and ask it to come up. And that is what the expert is. Like, I'm so thankful that I have an expert called Bravado that comes in all those situations and literally helps me get through the day. But it is employed in almost every situation when I'm out in the world, and is very, very helpful. Like, it's a great coping skill, but it does call the question of how close is it? You know what I mean? Like, how close are you to the person that you are as you walk in the world? And doesn't it take more energy to be more than one person?
Yeah.
But man, I don't know. Like, I don't know if people ever get to that place where you're just this one solid human being and you're, self-affirmed and.
I think if you get there, you become like John Steinbeck or Harper Lee or something like that. And you just kind of hide away. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. John Steinbeck, I just read his letters, his life in letters, and it was really interesting to read his ride, his insecurity of ride, and then him being like, I don't care what anyone thinks. Sure, that thing can go to theater, or sure, maybe this book will do something, but he's just kind of like, it's a plight. You have a plight and I have a plight, and we're very lucky.
Oh, yeah.
Really, really lucky. And you don't have to be an artist to have to employ Bravado. I just feel like everyone's doing it.
I was on your Instagram a couple of days ago, and I saw that you had gone to some kind of tractor show.
Yes. It's the International PEI Potato Expo, actually, in Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island. My brother sells potato harvesters. He manufactures them. So I went to climb up on top of them. I took one of my nieces, and we climbed on the sprayers and the windrowers and the diggers and that.
Your family is a potato farming family.
That's right,
from
yeah.
Prince Edward Island.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that is helpful in that all the things we're talking about, which is that like, I'm trying to figure out who I am as an artist. I'm getting on stage. I'm performing. I get to, travel around. And last time I saw you, we were walking around New Orleans together.
Yeah.
And is it useful to have all these big, deep thoughts about who you are publicly and who you are privately, and then be able to go home and go, oh, well, I'm surrounded by this side of life as well?
Yeah, I think that side of life comes into all of my side. Like, I don't know, you probably feel the same way. Like, growing up in the East Coast and being very community and family oriented, I walk in the world as a person who has that desire for community and connection. And so I think I also take it on stage with me in the sense that I just kind of want to be a person who happens to be on stage, who's willing to talk about the uncomfortable things that I know you're feeling too. And somehow that makes the connection in the room, I think, happen faster. And, sometimes I have to buy a fancy blazer, and every now and again, that's kind of nice.
Yeah.
I like to get them on sale. But no, it's good. It's an opportunity. I see my work as an opportunity to instigate connection, and in a really human way. Because I just want to happen to be the person that's performing.
Aren't we grateful that we come from where we come from? That that some people don't have that duality, as you say at the beginning.
Yeah.
That other kind of duality, where you can go to the PEI Potato
mainland
Expo.
And island.
Yeah,
That duality.
You're going to do the benefits of being alone.
Yeah,
a song you recorded twice on this record.
Yes, yeah. I wrote it last March. It was the song that I wanted to write for like probably 8 or 9 months. I knew I wanted to write something from the aspect of being someone who is alone a good portion of the time, and kind of like it's not always bad.
No.
And there's a difference between loneliness and aloneness, and both happen to all of us, and both are important. But I recorded it twice. The original way was Randy Newman kind of slowed down, classic RC style. And then we got into the studio, and I was like, I feel like I want to do a Nick Lowe version of it.
Oh yeah.
And that ends up starting the record.
Well, I'm excited to hear whatever version you're going to do over there. Nice to see you.
Yeah, you too.